Back to South Florida now, where we are expecting a new briefing from officials in Surfside just about 20 minutes away. It comes as crews try to dig into areas they had not been able to get to before, hoping against hope that they can find someone alive. As they do that, they will be keeping a close eye on the weather. Gusting winds and thunderstorms from Tropical Storm Elsa expected to hit the area and could force crews to suspend their efforts. 28 people are confirmed dead, 117 others still unaccounted for. I want to bring in Craig Fugate, former FEMA administrator, also chief resilience officer at the company One Concern. Always good to see you. Craig, how does potential flooding and rain impact the search at the site, which is already so difficult, so complicated?
Well, the rain's not going to be that big of a problem. Lightning, very high winds and tornadoes, which we can see in the outer bands. But probably the biggest problem is the water getting into areas that they're trying to search right now as they, move through the pile. But they're not going to stop unless they have a safety concern for the teams there. Their primary concern is going to be lightning, tornadoes, and if they start seeing extremely high gusts of wind, particularly for some of the equipment there, they may have to slow down or shut down operations. But otherwise, they're going to keep going through the rain.
So as we watch what else it does, talk to me about this new phase of the search. Crews now looking for these crawl spaces in 16 feet of concrete that they could not get access to before. Help us understand how that part goes.
Well, again, they were looking for where people were in the building when it collapsed, thinking that a lot of people were in their bedrooms when they began looking at how the structure had collapsed. Those were the areas that were difficult to reach and very dangerous because of the instability of the remaining tower. Once that tower came down, they can now get into these areas. And this is where they're hoping that there were some voids or spaces that people could be in. But I think we also have to be focused on right now that this is a operation that is really centered around giving families information and closure and making sure that nobody's left behind in this response, that we're going to recover everybody.
And we've heard from many of those first responders. They are resilient. They are remarkable. They are also, in many cases, mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted. Are there also ongoing risks to their health as they go into their second week very soon?
Well, this is why they keep a safety officer. Part of the job is to make sure the teams are being rested, people that are rotated out, people are given time to decompress. And, this is something that these teams are trained for. They have people in those teams that their job is to make sure those members are getting rest, that they're checking their mental health. People that need time out, need breaks, or just need to get away from the scene, they'll do that. And they're bringing in new, fresh teams to keep this process going.
And local officials continue to insist, Craig, this is a rescue operation. We're not at the recovery phase yet. And we do know there have been instances around the world where people have been found even longer who had been buried. But as a very real sort of operational instruction, do those things mean different things? Does it affect how the work gets done if you're in rescue or recovery?
Not really. And I think, the terminology we use is kind of irrelevant. What's important is that families are given the information. It's about them coming to terms with what has happened. It's about the teams working safely to rescue and recover and give closure to families. So we get wrapped around the terms rescue and recoveries. I think this is really something we need to respect, that the families are going through this. They need to come to terms. I think the officials are being very careful not to give any false hope, but they're continuing the operation, and they were not going to stop until they have given closure to all the families.
If you were managing this operation today, what would you be looking for, watching for, hoping for?
Well, to get into the voids and see if we can find anybody there. That was, I think, a big reason why when they were looking at these areas they called them no search areas because they were just too dangerous. The structural engineer said that that's too much instability. Once that tower came down, now this will be, I think, the big push now is to get in these areas, see what they can find. You see the dogs running in and out of the pile. These dogs are highly trained to look for the living. And it's important that these are the dogs that will be used to find the living because it's actually that's their job. That's what they do. So part of this is getting those dogs in these areas. And we have found that better than probably any other technology is the dogs have been amazing at being able to find people in these horrible situations.